don't quit your daydream. Most people say, "Oh, don't quit your day job," to make it funny, but I sign off with every Get Rich Education podcast with "Don't quit your daydream." Okay, do the right thing and then do things right. You're a human being first. You're a human doing second. Continue to migrate to your best and highest use, and you're going to live life better than you ever thought you could.
Awesome, man. So what what were maybe a two or three or whatever some of the things when you jumped in this entrepreneur journey that were extremely difficult, that kind of shocked you, that you never would have thought would have been difficult? Because so often, some of the things that we don't, we never account for end up being the biggest challenges.
Well, I used to be in love with the, what I see is, and I think Elon Musk says it very well. I was in love in the beginning with the idea of success. It's so easy to be in love with the idea of success. Have a house I want, car I want, money I want, whatever, everything I want. That's so easy, and to be in love with that idea. What was challenging was falling in love with the process of what it takes to have that happen. And the process is sometimes not being able to pay payroll, sometimes feeling like a complete idiot and failure, and still going, standing in front of a room when you might be sick and tired, but doing it anyway, going to a meeting and and you got it all wrong, and then having to deal with that. Having a lot of people around you think you're crazy or nuts, but still going at it anyway. Trusting yourself immensely, even when you're scared to. And all that stuff. The other things is feeling not good enough, and then beginning and starting, no matter what. That's the process I found in my life has been to fall in love with the parts of me I love the least. And it's not easy to fall. It's easy to fall in love with the idea of success. But falling in love with the process of what it takes to have it is a whole other thing. Also, even the process. I used to think that when I made $1 million or whatever, that was going to make me happy, and it's not. It's like those greyhound races. They race those greyhounds, and all the greyhounds think that little metal rabbit is real. The metal rabbit called mainstream culture. That this is what success is: have a white picket fence, a nice car, and money in the bank or whatever. That's you get that metal rabbit, you chew on that thing, and it's metal, and then you try and go tell everyone else, all the other dogs, that it's freaking metal, and they think you're crazy. Well, and then you go after the other one called fame, and I went after that one too, the famous metal rabbit. So I was like, okay, I got to go make a difference on a big level. I got to go speak on stage with Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, thousands of people, and I did that. I bit that metal rabbit, and it's all cracked up to be either. So then money, having some sort of fame. And I'm not famous like some of these other guys, but enough to taste it. And I'm like, 2 metal rabbits. Okay, next one. I'm going to make a difference in this planet. So I went after that metal rabbit. Bit on that one. Nope. The world's going to be fine. It's up to, if I want to save the world, I got to work on myself. Yeah. So it's just ultimately all of them, everything's a metal rabbit except for working on myself and my own relationship with me and my planet around me and the people around me. So that's tough. But I'm glad I did it because I got to discover and have a direct experience that it was metal.
We create this podcast just like a lot of people that create podcasts because they want to deliver great information. We're in this information overload, and you're a very successful coach, and you're coaching on stuff that you've done, and there's so many quote unquote gurus that have never done it, that are operating from a place of theory. So I wanted to create this to go interview the doers like yourself, dude that have done it big, that have overcome those struggles, and inspire and give that back to, one, to me so I can learn and grow, but also our listener base, man. So, with that being said, do you have any last pieces of words or advice or inspiration that you'd like to leave our listeners with so they can go out there and create that amazing, epic life like you're talking about that they know they want and deserve?
I got no advice for anybody anymore. I just got questions.
Yeah.
So my questions to everybody listening would be, what do you want? And if you could finally have what is it you'd like in your life? And if you give yourself permission to have that, what would that do for you? What are you resisting in your bodies that you aren't willing to feel? And if you felt it and you were able to let that be, what new insights would come about? My next question to the rest of the human family is what gives you the right to play so small? We're bigger than that. If you could see your own wings, what color would they be? Are you a part of My other question would be, what are the best questions to be asking yourself right now for everybody here in order to have a life you want? Did you tell your mom and dad and your kids that you love them? When was the last time you did that? And if you're not, what's between you and doing that? What are you afraid of? My other question to the rest of the human family would be, you used to choose every moment between love and fear. Every moment, that was the old paradigm. You had a choice between love and fear every moment. And now I will assert that the days are done where you can have a choice anymore. There's no more choice. There's only love. So then my question to you or to everybody around that would be, what the heck are you so afraid of? And let it be. Just come on. You caught me right after I heard about this whole Brussels attack right now, and I'm just sad.
Yeah.
Just sad. We're amazing, and these things could stop if we just finally wake up to what incredible beings we are and who we are as a human family. We need to wake up and do the work, the real work, and go inward. This is our time. We are incredible. So, and the only solution now, there is no more choice anymore. The new paradigm is only love. We build our businesses from love. We treat our families with love. We treat ourselves with love. That's it. Everything else is a load of crap.
Yeah, and you're right, man. I mean, everybody's interested. Very few are committed, which I guess makes it better for those that are committed because you have far less competition. Everybody says they want it until they got to put in the work. And I mean, what attracted me to you so heavily was, I mean, I paid thousands of dollars for products, and I'm discovering you on a free content and getting 10x what they offered, and I know I told you this before the webinar, but within 4 weeks, we brought in $104,000 of net revenue following your system. So they're proven they work. I have so many of our podcast guests. I kind of see what I've done with the boot camps, and they're always asking me, "Hey, when are you going to start teaching other people how to do them?" And I'm like, I don't know, and I'm not really the expert there. So I'm like, let me get the expert on that I learned from on here, and let's kind of dissect the process, because it's not just delivering the webinar is, at least in my experience, it's kind of the easy part. It's the funnels, it's the leads, it's the conversion rates, and all that crap that's so it can be difficult in the beginning to learn. So walk us through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing that everyone needs to understand, when you're starting an online business, is that the game that we are playing is we are in the business of collecting names and email addresses and mailing them. That's all. Okay, this is the number one way to have $1 million internet business. It's all in the list. Okay, I know you probably heard that before 1 million times, but you got to understand that we're not playing another game, any other game. Okay, put that at the front of your mind as your vision right now. If you're starting from scratch, I want to have a list of 1,000 email subscribers in the next 12 months. Now, a list is not a list of people that you got from LinkedIn and you downloaded it, or I've got a database from 6 years ago, from property, some people. No, the list is people who've signed up recently for something that you have told them, like a free report on how to do webinars or how to buy property, something they've signed up for, or they've expressed an interest to you over the phone or something. Like whenever I go to seminars and stuff, people come to me and they say, "Wow, that sounds amazing what you do. Do you have a business card?" I said, "I don't do business card." I said, "I'll tell you what, give me your business card, and what I'll do is I'll send you my webinar. Would you like a copy of my webinar?" They go, "Yes." So I go home, and I got one the other day from a guy who does crowdfunding in Australia. I saw him speaking on stage. I went up to him, I go, "Mate, are you doing webinars?" He goes, "Mate, I'm not doing anything. I need to monetize this stuff." I go, "Mate, I can help you make $1 million plus with crowdfunding webinars. There's already guys doing it. No brainer, right?" So I said to the guy, "Will you give me half if I help you set it up?" He said, "Yes." So I could give you your business card. I'll send you my webinar. So now I go and put his name and email into my webinar, send him the webinar. Now he's on my list. Okay. So it doesn't matter where the list comes from, as long as they are interested, expressed verbally or online, and interest in signing up for your webinar or information you want to get. So you need a system called GetResponse, Aweber, Infusionsoft, One Shopping Cart that can collect names and email addresses for you, MailChimp, whatever, right? Just get one, get a centralized database, and start segmenting it into these people want property worth over $1 million, these people want, to rent a property, whatever it is, start segmenting it. and then emailing them once a week with some useful information. Now, it can be a webinar. That's what Josh and I recommend, webinars, because they're the highest conversion tool, and you can do it on the spot. You create the content instantly, and you got to nurture those subscribers. So you got to send them something. Once a week, you do a webinar, or you find a cool YouTube video about something that's relevant for them. Go, hey guys, I came across this YouTube video, check it out. Or a newsletter once a week, or something to remain the relationship with that target audience. Okay, you've got to keep the relationship. People build these lists, Josh, and then they never email them, and they go, oh, I'm scared to email. What if they unsubscribe? Well, the worst thing you can actually do is not send them anything for 3 months, and then send them an email. All of a sudden, they go, who's this guy spamming me? They don't remember that they gave you a business card and wanted you to talk, but because you didn't email straight away, you didn't put them on your list and send them something, then they've forgotten you. Now they think you're spamming them. So the best way is to email people at least once a week. So we email at least 3-4 times a week, because we've got a newsletter for our playground customers. Our high-level customers have another newsletter. We have something for our free subscribers. There's always something happening with our list, or we're promoting someone else, someone else who's got a product and they're going to give us half, promote someone else that fits that market. So we are in the list building game. If you don't have an email marketing software right now, you're not even serious. It's only $15 a month and you're not even serious. Oh, I'll get that later. I don't need that right now. No, you need that right. That's step number one, is get yourself an email marketing management system to start emailing. Even if you got 5 people, because all of us started with no database. In 2008, I had no one. First webinar, 15 people. That was my list, 15 people. Then it grew to 50 and hovered around 5,000. And then it went to 10 and now it's over 30,000. And that's how it starts, all from that list building. So that's the real name of the game. And then all you need to do is figure out, okay, I've put my webinar together. This is a great webinar. I know it converts 1 in 10. How do I get more people there? And this is where I'll give you a couple of strategies that you can do right now that can make you really, really wealthy if you want to do it this way, and it's no risk, right? The number one way is joint ventures, okay? Joint ventures is still, no matter what anyone tells you, all the people look to do this because this works the best. Joint ventures are still the number one way to get guaranteed customers to your webinar and build your database at the same time, because nothing is more powerful, okay, than Josh sending an email to his database recommending and telling people what I did for him with the information I shared and how I'm going to help them. Nothing's more powerful than that. If Josh gave me his database and said, Steve, you email them, which you never do. You never ever do that. People get confused by this. Basically, if I email Josh's database, I'm spamming them. If Josh emails them on behalf of me, and I can write the email and send it to him and say, hey, adjust this a little bit, invite him to the webinar, now that recommendation is going to be more powerful than anything else. It's going to eat Facebook ads alive. It's going to eat YouTube retargeting. Nothing will compare with that. As long as Josh has a relationship with that list, that he emails them frequently, then I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to get leads, I'm going to get sales, and we're going to be able to share the profit. So joint ventures is number one. I always tell my students as well, Josh, that you only need 3 or 4 really good joint venture partners like us who've got 20 or 30,000 people on their database or more that can make you $1 million a year business by promoting you a couple of times a year. All you need to do is prove to them that you deliver to your customers that purchase, that you pay them half on time, and that you're going to give great value on the webinar for people who don't buy as well, right? So it's great value, win-win-win for everyone. No matter whether people buy or not, they still go, well, that was good. I'm not going to buy now, but I know where to go later, and thanks for sharing. And because people with a database, they don't want headaches. They don't want someone to come later and say, oh, I bought that program from that Steve Essa guy, Josh, and you know what? That webinar, they never emailed me. Or, so if I hear that, I go, oh, I'm never promoting that guy again. I don't want to get headaches, okay? So joint ventures, look for people. How do you do it? Last year I was looking for more JV partners. I said, I'm gonna get interviewed on podcasts. I'm gonna go out and get interviewed twice a week on a podcast. I hired a girl called Jessica who runs Interview Connections, does a fantastic job, and she basically books you on all the big podcasts out there. And at the end, they always say, how do you people find out more information? Oh, you put your name and email at my webinar, and people sign up for my webinar, and we get sales and we build our list that way. So that was another another strategy. Plus, I met amazing people like yourself, Josh, that we can actually, hey, we've got a product that will suit our database. We've got a product that suit your database. And I formed a couple of relationships with people from podcasts as well. So another great way to find JV partners is to give first. Okay, so if I didn't know you before, Josh, right, and I contacted you and said, hey, let's do a webinar. You go, who's this guy, right? You know what I mean? From down under, like I don't even know. Is this guy like riding kangaroos? What's he selling? But if we do an interview first, where I interview you on my podcast or you interview me on your podcast, and we talk, we have a relationship. Wow, this guy actually knows his stuff. Now at the end of the podcast, we say, hey man, what you reckon you're going to do some sort of reciprocal mailing where I mail for you, you mail for me? That sounds really interesting. And those relationships are formed from there. So podcast is great to get access to new audiences, build your list, but also form relationships with people who have lists and who are action takers, because people who run a podcast are very committed. It takes time every week, commitment, finding guests, delivering. They love their community. They love their tribe. It's a really, really hard thing to do, a podcast every week. Most people stop after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months, because it's hard work and they're not getting the reward. So I want to work with guys who do podcasts because they're committed. So start looking at podcasts in your industry and going and get interviewed on their shows and form those relationships. And remember that a deal doesn't have to be done the first day. Nothing's more gross than when someone's trying to, get something on the first day and get them to commit. If the person says no, not now, you say, Josh, what sort of stuff are you looking for? What would my price point need to be? What would your database benefit from? What's on your database? Authors? Oh, I could do a webinar just for authors. What about if we did a webinar just about authors and how they can turn their $30 book into $3,000? Would you think that would work? And I'm trying to find what Josh's community wants, what your community needs, and then we can find something that is going to be beneficial. And then you go, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that, rather than trying to force upon a JV partner. So a lot of times JV people get turned off because people don't know how to approach them and stuff. So this is really, really important to go out there, find the JVs. People say, where do you get them? They're everywhere. Go online. People who've written books, people who are doing podcasts, people who are speaking at seminars, people who are authorities in their market. They're the ones with the databases. And then also look at organizations like unions, and within your industry, a union, academies and different places, they've all got databases of people in their industries. Like I've got a guy in here in Australia right now. He does, I can't remember what you call news agencies in the States. What do you call news agencies where they sell papers and stuff like that, and newsstands?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a federation of newspaper. We call them paper shops here. Paper shop, right? News agencies. They basically have a whole list of 1,000 of them, and he shows news agencies how to grow their profits because they're collapsing right now because lottery tickets are being sold, newspapers are being sold in 7-Elevens and stuff. It's destroying this whole business. So he's found that database of niche people. The databases have already been built. So focus on your webinar first, get a converting 1 in 10, and then start getting access to those databases. If someone says to you, no, I don't want to promote you to my list, no, I don't do that, say, well, how about this? How about I give you $5,000 to send an email to your list for me? Would you like that? And that's called a solo ad. So that's another great way, Josh, that we recently did this. We did one of our businesses. My wife bought $30,000 worth of solo ads in the UK. We sent one of my business partners over there for some workshops. He pulled in over $200,000 in 2 weeks from a $30K spend. Instead of spending it on Facebook, which is going to be way more hit and miss, we paid someone to mail their database where they have a relationship. We made a ton more money, and we're looking at doing that again. So we've found that form of marketing, joint ventures for a profit, for a commission of any sales, and paying people to mail their list that have a relationship with their list is the 2 number 1 ways to fill your webinars. And if you just did those strategies, you'll say, Steve, I can't sell anymore because I can't keep up with the demand.
Do you have whether it's like a daily or a weekly routine where you're able to reflect and keep an eye on your goals and just, to make a gauge to see how you're doing and paying attention to that?
It's funny. I was talking to one of my clients this morning. He was dealing with something, and I said one of the biggest ways to grow and expand is self-awareness and self-coaching, right? So if you look at my daily routine, and I'm a family guy, right? I love my family. I love my wife to death. I mean, she's my goddess. But I'll tell you one thing that I think, because it's the most current thing for me, and I don't know if you ever heard of the meditation TM, and there's a website, tm.org. I don't get nothing for saying that. I'm just going to tell you, when I come across things that are profound, I believe in sharing it. And I've taken on the routine. I've always meditated since I'm 14 years old, because being in the martial arts world, right, you got to be the whole Sun Tzu and Zen shit, right? So you got to learn. And the only reason that martial artists meditate is so we don't kill people, right? So we don't go out there brawling and stuff. It's the only reason. You got to be peaceful so you're not deadly, right? But this TM, I'll tell you one thing that I've done, and I've learned. People listen to this. You can only hear things through the level of lenses you're ready to hear. But I used to meditate, but now I'm doing it 20 minutes in the morning, and I do it with my wife now because if you decide to do this TM thing, I believe create everything into an experience. This changed my life. Probably two things changed my life. One, make everything an experience. Your relationship, you go out, it's not a dinner, it's an experience. You hang out with your kids, it's an experience. So I hired someone to do this private training. And I'll tell you, it was amazing because it created this family dynamic. And me and my wife, every morning, this morning, 20 minutes, it could be 15 minutes, do this meditation. Now, and I think it's really key that everybody listens to this because meditation most people use to take the stressors and compress it. And really what I learned is meditation is the pulling back the bow, not the letting it relax. It's pulling back the bow and then letting it go. So it allows you to get laser. So one thing I do every morning now, and around 5 to 7 o'clock, I do 20 minutes of meditation. I'll tell you, anybody who wants to be wealthier beyond belief, the greats have been saying this forever. All the greats, the Steve Jobs, all these people have been talking about meditation. Number two, when I wake up, I have instant gratitude. Every morning, I literally train myself. When I wake up, I'm all like, all idiotic because the sheets around my neck. But as soon as I wake up, I smile because I'm like, mother, another day. Like I am to hug my wife and my children one more day, to do this one more day. I'm like, boom, I'm powered. I don't sit there and drag my ass. I get the hell out of bed and I stand up and I'm like this. It's a winter. I'm like, boom. Now normally it's not like I don't look that good like I used to, right? So it's kind of boom, hair. I told my son, you know what you got to expect? Hair out your nose, your ears, hair comes everywhere. Italian guys suffer with hair, right? So I'm like, boom. So that's part of my routine. And the other thing is I always have a mantra of something I'm saying, and I don't have the same mantra. I just create one. Like this morning, I'm like, I'm amazing, I'm great, change as many lives as possible today, right? And I'll just kind of repeat that a bunch of times, and then I'm like, boom, I go out for my day. The thing that I think, and you said it before about patterns and habits, I think this is what people have to understand. To create something new, something in your body, your DNA results, you have to start off with a pattern. And patterns start good or bad. The pattern is get up and start doing this until it becomes a habit. The problem is where it dies is people create a habit, but if you don't shift the habit up, okay, it dies. If I just do the same curl every day, same curl, eventually the muscle don't grow no more. It stops growing. So what people have to know is don't have the same routine forever. Do it till it's a habit and then make a conscious decision to shift it slightly. Make sense?
Yep.